Hello, and welcome to the My BFF Business Leaders Podcast, your new secret weapon for business success. Sponsored by My BFF Social Media, Marketing, and Advertising. Make sure to hit subscribe. Now let's get started.
All right, so you're building your business, things are going well, and bam. It seems like AI has suddenly taken over the world, right?
Yeah, pretty much. It's everywhere you look.
I mean, it's like every post, every article, every conversation, everyone's talking about AI, AI, AI. And I'm sure you're thinking, with all these AI platforms exploding onto the scene.
Which ones are actually going to make a difference?
Right, like which of these AI platforms will help my business? Is it ChatGPT? What about Claude? Maybe Gemini? Or is it Grok or Perplexity?
Yeah, and honestly, trying to figure out how to actually use any of these things can feel like a job in itself.
Totally. I mean, it's one thing to read about AI, but it's a whole other thing to actually implement it. But before we get into the specifics of all these different AI tools and which ones could become your new BFF, your business friend forever,
Right.
we want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, My BFF Social Media, Marketing and Advertising.
Yep.
They're all about helping you make those connections, build those relationships, and really grow your business. So go check them out. Now, let's get back to AI. In this deep dive, we're going to unpack all the hype and figure out what AI really means for your business.
And we've got some great resources to help us do just that.
We do. First up, we have a super helpful guide from the SBA, the Small Business Administration.
The SBA.
They break down the basics of AI and how it can be used in the small business world.
Really great starting point.
It is. And then we have this awesome article from entrepreneur.com.
Oh, yeah, I read that one.
Yeah, it goes deep on all the different AI tools that are out there. So our goal today is to take all this information, break it down, and give you the insights you need to make informed decisions about AI for your business.
I think what's really interesting about these two sources, they come at it from slightly different angles, but they both ultimately want to empower you, the listener, to make smart choices about AI.
Definitely. So the SBA gives you the big picture, the why AI is important for small businesses, while entrepreneur.com gets down to the nitty-gritty.
Okay, so ready to jump into the AI platforms themselves.
Let's do it. And I think a good place to start is with ChatGPT, which is probably the one that everyone's heard of by now.
Yeah, ChatGPT by OpenAI, definitely the biggest name in the game right now.
So what's the deal with ChatGPT? Is it really all it's cracked up to be?
Well, according to entrepreneur.com, ChatGPT, especially the more advanced GPT-4 model, is a pretty versatile tool.
Versatile.
Yeah, they say it's really good for content creation, things like writing blog posts, drafting emails, but also for generating ideas, drafting sales scripts, even for creating those first drafts of customer support replies or internal communications.
Wow, so a real jack of all trades.
You could say that. And remember, you get two options with ChatGPT. The free GPT 3.5 model and the paid GPT-4, which is more powerful.
Oh, right. So you can kind of test the waters with the free version before committing to the paid one.
Exactly. If you're just starting out and want to see what it can do, GPT 3.5 is a great starting point. You can brainstorm ideas, draft some basic content, see if it's a good fit for you. Then, if you decide you need more power, more features, you can upgrade to GPT-4.
Makes sense. Now, one thing I've been hearing about GPT-4 is that it can actually learn your brand, voice, and style.
Yeah, that's a really cool feature. If you give GPT-4 enough information about your brand, like the kind of language you use, your tone, your style, it can actually start to mimic that in its writing.
Wow, so your AI-generated content will actually sound like your brand, not some generic robot voice.
That's the idea. And this can be a huge time saver because you can use GPT-4 to generate content that's already on brand without having to spend hours editing and tweaking it.
I see. So it's like having a junior copywriter who already knows your style guide inside and out.
Pretty much. And on top of that, OpenAI has also been rolling out some pretty interesting new features like the custom GPTs, the memory feature, and the ability to upload files.
Okay, break those down for me. What are custom GPTs?
Well, imagine you could create a version of ChatGPT that's specifically trained on your company's FAQs, your product descriptions, your customer interaction guidelines.
Like a specialized version of ChatGPT just for my business.
Exactly. And that's what custom GPTs let you do. You're essentially creating a personalized AI assistant that's tailored to your specific needs and knowledge base.
That is super cool. And what about this memory feature? What does that do?
So with the memory feature, GPT-4 can actually remember your past conversations and preferences.
So it's not starting from scratch every time I interact with it.
Exactly. It builds on your previous interactions, which means you'll get more relevant and personalized responses over time.
Mhm.
And then there's the file upload feature.
Okay, what's that all about?
Well, imagine you could upload a PDF of a report, a spreadsheet of data, even a presentation deck, and then ask GPT-4 to analyze it, summarize it, or answer specific questions about it.
That would be amazing. I mean, how much time would that save?
A ton. No more manually combing through pages and pages of documents. You can just feed it to GPT-4 and let it do the heavy lifting.
Okay, ChatGPT is sounding more and more impressive. So what about Claude? Entrepreneur.com described it as being really good with long documents and like really detailed, nuanced writing. How is it different from ChatGPT?
Well, one of the big things they highlight about Claude is its reliability.
Reliability, okay.
Yeah, they say it's less prone to what they call hallucinations, which basically means making stuff up, stating incorrect information as if it were fact.
Right, because these AI models are trained on massive amounts of data, and sometimes they can get things wrong.
Exactly. And apparently Claude's architecture is designed to minimize these kinds of errors. So it's really good for working with important factual information.
Got it. So if accuracy is super important, Claude might be a better bet than ChatGPT.
It could be. And they specifically mentioned that it's really strong for strategic work, like analyzing meeting notes, customer feedback, even financial reports. You know, things where you need to really understand the nuances of the information.
So for digging deep into complex information, Claude is the go-to.
Yeah, and it has this massive context window, which means it can handle really long documents.
Like how long are we talking?
Like entire transcripts, detailed white papers, whole books even, and it can still make sense of it all.
That's impressive.
It is. They also talk about its tone control, which means it's good at writing in a natural, human-like way.
Right, so it's not just spitting out dry, robotic text.
No, it can actually sound pretty human. And another thing they mention, which might be important for some businesses, is its privacy-first mindset.
Oh, interesting. What does that mean?
Well, it means that Anthropic, the company behind Claude, is really focused on data privacy and security.
So if you're in an industry with strict regulations like healthcare or finance, that could be a big advantage.
Yeah, you can feel more confident that your data is being handled responsibly.
Okay, so we've got ChatGPT for more general content needs, and Claude for when you need to really dig deep and accuracy is paramount. Now, what about Perplexity AI? The article described it as kind of a hybrid.
Right. Perplexity is really interesting. It's like a mix between ChatGPT and Google.
So you get that conversational, chat-like experience, but with the power of a search engine.
Exactly. And they say it actually uses different AI models, including OpenAI's, depending on what you're asking it. So it's pulling from the best of different worlds.
That's smart. So what are the key features that they highlighted for Perplexity?
Well, one of the biggest ones is cited sources. So every answer Perplexity gives you comes with links to where you get that information from.
Oh, that's great for fact-checking and making sure you're not getting bogus information.
Definitely. And then they have a pro version that lets you choose which AI model powers your queries.
So you get more control over the results.
Yep. And then there's the search follow-ups feature, which is really cool. It basically remembers the context of your previous questions, so you can ask follow-up questions without having to repeat everything.
Makes research a lot smoother.
It does. Entrepreneur.com suggests using Perplexity for things like staying on top of industry trends, understanding customer pain points, and keeping an eye on what your competitors are doing.
So market research, competitive analysis, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Which, you know, the SBA talks about a lot, the importance of understanding your market and your competition.
Definitely. Okay, next up we have Google Gemini.
Which used to be Bard, right?
That's right. So how does Gemini fit into all of this?
Well, the article says that Gemini's biggest strength is its integration with Google Workspace.
So if you're already using Gmail, Docs, Sheets, all that good stuff, Gemini makes a lot of sense.
Right. It's all about making things easier and more efficient within your existing workflow.
I like that. So less disruption, more integration. What are some of the specific features they mentioned?
Well, they talked about getting writing assistance right inside Gmail, which could be super helpful for crafting emails.
Oh, yeah, especially if you're not a natural writer. That could be a game changer.
They also mentioned being able to analyze data directly in Google Sheets without having to export it.
Oh, wow. So no more copying and pasting into separate programs.
Exactly. And then there's a feature that combines Google Search with AI summaries to give you quick answers to your questions.
Okay, so it's like having a research assistant right there in your browser.
Pretty much. And they suggested using Gemini in Docs for summarizing meeting notes or outlining documents, and in Sheets for doing basic data analysis without needing to know a lot about formulas. It's all about streamlining those everyday tasks, which again is something the SBA emphasizes as important for small businesses.
Okay, so Gemini is all about efficiency and integration. Got it. And finally, we have Grok, the AI from X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yes, Grok. The article described it as, well, a bit different.
Meme-friendly, Elon stands. Those are the terms they used. So what's the deal with Grok?
Well, Grok is definitely the outlier in this group. It's trained on all the data from X, which means it's very much tuned into real-time trends and internet culture. And it's designed to be conversational and witty, even a bit snarky.
So probably not the best tool for writing a formal business proposal.
Probably not. But it could be great for drafting social media content, especially if you're going for that edgy, on-trend voice.
I see, so it's very niche.
Yeah, it has a very specific use case. And the article even warned about fact-checking Grok's output carefully because it prioritizes being funny and engaging over being strictly accurate.
So take it with a grain of salt, basically.
Definitely.
Okay, so we've covered all the major platforms, but now comes the hard part, actually figuring out how to use these tools. What advice did the Entrepreneur.com article give for getting started with AI?
Well, their number one tip was to start with just one platform. Don't try to learn everything at once.
Right, don't overwhelm yourself.
Exactly. And they specifically suggested either ChatGPT or Perplexity as good starting points because they're both pretty user-friendly.
Okay, so pick one, get comfortable with it, and then maybe branch out later.
Yeah, that's the idea. And they also said to think of AI as a junior team member.
Oh, I like that analogy.
It's a tool to help you work more efficiently, not something that's going to replace your entire team.
So use it to augment your skills, not to eliminate jobs.
Right. They gave examples like using it to generate different headlines for an ad campaign or to summarize a long report into key takeaways. It's all about using AI to free up your time and mental energy so you can focus on the bigger picture.
And speaking of the bigger picture, they also emphasize the importance of giving the AI context about your business.
Oh, yeah, that's super important. The more information you give it, your company documents, your brand guidelines, your customer feedback, the better it will understand your needs and the more useful its output will be.
So it's not just a magic box. You have to train it, educate it.
Exactly. And then, of course, they reminded everyone to always fact check and edit anything the AI generates.
Right, because even though these tools are amazing, they're not perfect.
They can still make mistakes. And finally, they said to make AI a regular part of your workflow. Don't just try it once and forget about it. Integrate it into your daily or weekly tasks, and you'll start to see the real benefits.
Okay, so to sum up the getting started advice, pick one platform, treat it like a helpful assistant, give it lots of context, double-check its work, and use it consistently. Makes sense. Now let's go back to the SBA guidance for a minute. We've talked about these specific AI tools, but how do they connect with the broader ways the SBA sees AI benefiting small businesses?
Yeah, I mean, the specific document we looked at from the SBA might not mention every single platform by name, but it does talk about how AI can help small businesses with things like marketing, customer service, operations, all those core functions.
And when we look at the capabilities of these tools, we can see how they fit into that.
Exactly. Like, for example, ChatGPT can help with writing marketing copy or drafting customer service responses.
Which are both huge challenges for many small businesses.
Right. And Perplexity AI can be used for market research and competitor analysis.
Which, again, is something the SBA emphasizes as crucial for small business success.
And then there's Gemini, which can really streamline all those everyday tasks like email and document management and even data analysis.
Freeing up time and mental bandwidth for more strategic thinking.
Right, which is exactly what the SBA wants small businesses to do. So the key takeaway is that these specific AI tools can help you address those broader challenges and opportunities that the SBA highlights.
Definitely. It's about connecting the dots between the specific capabilities of these tools and the overall needs of your business.
Right. And both the SBA and Entrepreneur.com emphasize the importance of focusing on your specific business needs when choosing an AI tool. It's not about chasing the latest shiny object. It's about finding the right tool for the job.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up, what's the key message for our listeners who are still trying to figure out this whole AI thing?
I think the biggest takeaway is that AI offers a ton of potential benefits for businesses, but there's no one-size-fits-all solution.
It's all about finding the right tools for your specific needs and being willing to experiment and learn.
Right. Start with one platform, use it as a way to enhance your thinking and your team's capabilities. Make sure you give it the context it needs to understand your business, always review its output, and try to integrate it into your regular workflow.
Solid advice. And as you start to explore these AI tools, think about this. What's one specific task in your business right now that you could try delegating or improving with AI?
Yeah, and think about how these tools might change the way you approach your business in the coming years. These are exciting times.
They are. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of AI.
Thanks for having me.